particular evening, I was working my part-time job, and I got a call on my phone that pretty much told me to call down there to the facility, and that's the Easterling Correctional Facility, to check on my husband.
Some phone calls, and it was an inbox stating what had happened, that he was found unresponsive and everything, and it wasn't given to us by the staff of the prison. It was just given to us by inmates, and I don't feel that that's protocol. Any situation that happened, the staff, the warden, or the guard, anybody, it wasn't handled correctly. So we got what happened to our brother through the inmates of the prison.
I'm thinking something has taken place. I didn't know. My mind just started to race, so I had to take a little break from my job. I went in the back to make the phone call down there. And so when I called, I told them who I was and who I was checking on. And then they forwarded that call to whoever the captain was, I think, on duty. I can't remember his name. I think I got it written down somewhere, but whoever the captain was on duty, he proceeded to ask me who I was again. I told him who I was. He wanted me to answer a series of questions to verify who I was, which that's never happened when I called the facility and wanted to check on my spouse. They normally just patch me through to whoever I need to speak to and then give me all my information. So they wanted me to verify his brother's name. They wanted me to know his date of birth. They asked me if I knew his social. I said, I don't know it by heart. They asked me about people on the visitation list to verify those people. And then he proceeded to say, well, we were getting ready to call you. I said, well, what were you getting ready to call me for? And he said, well, ma'am, I regret to inform you. I said, what? Regret? Wait a minute. Regret to inform me of what? And he told me that my husband had passed away prior to me calling, a little bit earlier. I'm not even sure about the time at that moment of when he passed. And I'm like, what? What do you mean he passed away? He was in segregation, an altercation he had got into. Now all of a sudden he's dead. How does that happen?
The chaplain had talked to my sister-in-law, but this was like way after the inmates was trying to get in touch with us and was telling us. This was like hours later. Because when we had gotten it then, it was like over in the evening, maybe about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, that we had gotten the news of what happened. So the chaplain did get in touch with her, but still, I think that might have been the only one that really got in touch with her, other than who got in touch with us about it.
And even to this day, today is March 29, 2023 at 2:26 Eastern Standard Time. I have not yet to receive a call from the prison, from the warden. Only person I've spoken to, and that's because I called him, was the chaplain and the one captain down there who I had to coordinate with him to get his belongings mailed to our home.
Me being his twin, I pretty much know how we were raised. That's suicide to me is an easy way a person can take out when they don't see another way, another alternative. But it was he had good behavior in prison as far as on what, he was doing things around the prison. So why would he commit suicide if he was getting good behavior and he was working in there and doing different things around the prison, as far as like working in the kitchen and doing different activities or what have you?
I don't feel, I'm kind of torn in between the two, because I don't feel like he would have done that. But then he told me he didn't know the outcome of what was going to take place after they came back with their decision from their little investigation from the altercation. And the decision was going to come down to him possibly going and being transferred, I want to say, to a level 5 prison. And I want to say that's the highest level. I want to say he was at a level 4. So that one altercation that he did not provoke or start was going to cause him, but a warden was supposed to make the decision for him to be transferred. So I don't know what state of mind he was in, but at the same time, he told me it would never get that bad. He would never leave me. Because I told him, just because you're in prison, that does not mean your children do not need their dad. Your wife don't need her husband. So you're still needed. And I know that it's hard and it may be selfish, but I don't want you to ever get those thoughts in your head. And he told me that he would never do that. My husband never lied to me. Never lied to me. So for them to tell me that he did this and he told me that he would never do it, I don't. And then just other information that I've been slowly getting, it's just not looking like that's what he did. It's just not. It's just not what I think he did. And just like I said, a little other, I would say, intel within those walls are telling me otherwise, or some people that were in there that have told some people that I know, and it's gotten back to me that wasn't the case. Suicide, that was not the case. That's not what took place. And I'm like, okay. But I mean, I don't have any of the reports. I don't have the autopsy. They said I have to go to get an attorney. I don't know if something has to be subpoenaed. I don't even know what to do to get the actual report from the incident and the report for what took place that day leading up to his death. So it's a lot of unanswered questions because I have a lot of them. I mean, but again, nobody's called me, and I've called several times. I've left several messages for the warden. I think it's 2 of them down there. I think it's an assistant or something like that, but I've left messages for both of them. And I have not received anything back. So I don't feel like that's what he did. And the fact that they're telling me that people from the state has come down to that facility to interview him about deaths that's occurred in that facility particularly. I mean, it's just a lot that's behind this whole matter. Not just Antonio, just other ones as well. But of course, mine, that's the one that I'm concerned with the most is my spouse, because I don't see how in the world that happened. Especially he's supposed to have been segregated. That should have been like the safest area he would have been. Especially in his condition. He had just gotten stitches, if I'm not mistaken. They should have been making sure at the very least that he was safe. and checking on his well-being and going by periodically to making sure that everything is okay. But I don't know what took place because it didn't happen. They failed.
He was on the good behaviors list. So my thing of it is, if a person have all of that going, why would they all of a sudden just jump up and commit suicide? Yeah, he had gotten a guy, had gotten into it with him. Matter of fact, he was on the phone with his wife when it happened.
So he got on the phone with me, and he had to get off real fast. He said some guy was messing with him or something like that. And I said, okay. And he said, I'm finna handle something real fast. I don't know what's going on, but I'll call you right back. And so, of course, I went into a little panic mode. And I'm like, oh, Lord, because he's never gotten off the phone with me to do anything such like that. Because, I mean, he's not confrontational. Anybody down there could tell you, like, he has a mild manner. He's the one that's going to probably pretty much try to calm everything down or try to get the dorm in compliance, because he didn't like for the officers to come in there. Like that's the last thing that he wanted to happen, for them to have to come in there and get shook down, and you have to go through that whole little process. So his thing was trying to keep everything calm. But for whatever reason, some guy came and started, I guess, messing with him. So he got off the phone with me, and then he a little while had passed, and then the next time he called me, he told me that he's been hurt. And he said he got into it with a guy, and the guy came and just all of a sudden started messing with him. And the guy had a knife, or a makeshift knife, or whatever they call it, whatever they call the stuff that they get, contraband, I guess is what it is. I don't know. But he had something like a knife, and the guy was pretty much coming towards him. Antonio didn't go to him or where he was. The guy came to Antonio, and I guess they proceeded to fight. And at some point, the guy pulled a knife out and he cut Antonio. Seemed like he told me he cut him somewhere in the abdominal area. I know it wasn't like face, arm, or nothing like that. It was somewhere upper torso type area, somewhere between his midsection and below his chest, I think, somewhere like that. And so I just started getting nervous, and he told me they're about to get ready to take him to the hospital, I believe, because he was bleeding really bad. But he wanted to tell me that short little information before he was taken to the hospital. And so I got a call from him, because at that point I got a call. He was in segregation. And he told me, and I asked him, well, what are you doing in segregation? He's like, I don't know. They trying to investigate or get the story to get together. Because they got to review the tape, and they don't know who had the knife or who started the fight. So they put both of us in lockup. That's what he called it, lockup. And I said, okay. He sounded okay. He said they just sewed it up or whatever. He said he wasn't in any real pain. Shockingly, he said he wasn't in any real pain. He was just trying to hurry up and get us get out of this situation, because just like the month prior in June, we had just went back into court so we could try to run his sentences together. And it was looking very promising. Our attorney was telling us it was looking kind of promising for the judge to do that, because he spoke with the judge when we went to court in June, and how the judge was talking, and his name is Judge Walker, and in Opelika, and he was telling them how it just didn't seem. I mean, it was just looking promising for the judge to try to run it concurrent. I mean, I think it's concurrent when they run it together. So that way, hopefully by running the sentences together, it's a greater chance for him to get out a lot sooner, because they were not being ran together. So it was like a 20-year sentence and then a 10-year sentence, where we've already went through the 10-year. So if we ran them together, instead of it being 20 years, I think it'll decrease it down to 10 years. But anyway, running together was going to make it look a lot more to his advantage when he went before the parole board. So like I said, that just happened in June. And then here it comes. I don't know. For whatever reason, this guy come and mess with Antonio like a week or two later after us going to court. And everything just, I don't know, it just kind of snowball, because he's never been in any, he doesn't have any discipline. And that was the judge was saying, well, he's been incarcerated all this time. He doesn't have any disciplinary actions in his file. That was one of the things they wanted to look into, just to see how he's being conducting himself as an inmate. And they wanted to run some more DNA. That's what they wanted to do back in June. They was like, let's run DNA one more time over the whole entire system, Alabama and throughout, because he just wanted to be sure there was no DNA, and everything comes back clean on him before we come back to court, and he make his ruling, or he makes his decision to run the sentences together. But then this happened. Like I said, it just snowballed from there. That was just like, I don't know. It was almost like he's already been put in prison, life, everything been stripped away from him. And then here's another hurdle we got to try to overcome. And he gets put in segregation for something that he didn't even cause. He just was defending himself. So that's kind of what happened as far as leading up to him getting hurt in their custody. I know he would tell me all the time how it wasn't enough officers there, because he felt like if there were enough officers there that day, it probably wouldn't even got to a fight. I mean, because from my understanding, they had this confrontation a good little while before it actually got physical. So his thing was, it should have been some officers around that should not, it wouldn't even got to that point where this man would actually get to the point to actually stab him. So that was one thing. And so, yeah, so that was what led up or got him into the point where he had to go to segregation because of that altercation with the other inmate. As the time went by, he was slowly declining in like his attitude, his mood. He's tried to always, throughout this whole time, Antonio always kept this positive outlook. Anybody who talked to him on the phone, anytime we visit him, he tried to make this bad situation. He didn't let it show. I'll just say that. He was always positive, uplifting, pretty much he would make other people feel better about his situation, and when it should have been the other way around. They needed to investigate because he was sure that they were going to see, that this guy came and attacked him or approached him or came to him, and he just knew, he was like, this is gonna be over with, you know, soon. They just gonna, they're gonna look at the video, they're gonna review it, they're gonna look at my history, they're gonna see that I have not been in any kind of trouble. And that was in my mind too, because that's just common sense. That should weigh heavily on anything. And I asked him, I said, well, what kind of guy was this that came? He was like, oh man, this guy here, he's always in trouble, Monique. He's always doing something, he's always into something, you know, he's got a lot more going on than I ever had. He was like, me, I'm not. And I was like, yeah, you ain't never got any trouble, so surely, you know, the warden will definitely see, your character is gonna speak for you. I mean, you've been at this camp for a good little period of time. They see you, they know you. I mean, they lean on you sometimes to try to help get the dorms in compliance or to get everybody situated, because they didn't have a ample staff. So they surely gonna see that. But like as the days went by, I mean, I could just tell he was breaking down. The few little times I was able to talk to him, because he couldn't get the phone as often, because in segregation they're not obligated to give you the phone. But for some reason, he was able to talk to me at least twice while he was there, and then I got the letters either 2 or 3 times while he was there, and then he started writing to me, and I was like, look, we just gonna start writing, just write as if you were talking to me on the phone, or if you were in at our visitation. So that's how we were going to try to just keep his spirits up and just keep him motivated. And but like I said, as the days went by, it just didn't seem. I could tell in his voice. I mean, I've known Antonio half of my life, so and I could just tell throughout the whole time. He just seemed like he was defeated. I mean, like he just had been pretty much railroaded again. And so, yeah, it had got, I could just tell even in his tone, it wasn't upbeat, it wasn't chipper anymore. It's like very, I mean, you take a person, you already innocent, and then you put them in a deeper hole. I mean, that's gonna do something to you.
They did an autopsy, but no type of investigation.
From my understanding, I mean, when you're in prison, they have their own system. Like they have their own coroner or their doctors or whoever, and they put on the paperwork, what they want to put on the paperwork. It's not like they go through if he was out, like if like a regular coroner, or it's not conducted in the same way if you're in prison. That was my interpretation, was that it was going to get treated just like a regular person who died, but I didn't know everything is handled in-house.
Want the footage of the day that they said he committed suicide, at least let us see what. Because my thing about that, if you are in solitary confinement, what would you have to take out suicide? What would you have to commit suicide in your cell? And you're not supposed to have any type of something that's going to contribute to suicide.
I want to know what actually took place. What are in the reports? What did the doctors and what did the autopsy say verbatim? Like, I don't want one word on a death certificate to try to spell out what took place in my husband. I mean, what happened to my husband. I want to know everything. Just like if someone was killed on the street and they have their day in court and they spell out everything that took place to the victim, I want to know those same events. I want to know what happened here, what took place here, who was this guy that he got in a fight with. I want to see the tape that y'all saw, because this is all in house. There's nobody representing my spouse on his behalf that's not biased. Like, to me, they can say what they want to say. They can do what they want to do because he's in their custody. I mean, I want to see justice from my husband. I want people to know that his life wasn't, he wasn't this bad person, his life meant something to a lot of people. So I just want the truth. I just want the truth. And I just want to shine some light. So hopefully that this doesn't happen to another family. Well, first, they need to probably have a few more officers to help diffuse situations that took place, like my husband, especially when things start getting to the point where it's about to become violent. You hear altercation. Why wasn't there enough officers around to hear this altercation? Why were there enough officers around standing just to see, see the whole incident themselves? Why they had to go and review a tape? Because there should have been enough there to say, hey, I see this with my own eyes. This man came from over here. He did this. He did that. It's not enough. I don't feel like it's ample enough officers to at least I know not in that situation. I don't know about all prison systems. I don't know about all the ones in Alabama. I just know the one particular one that my husband was at. There wasn't enough for him. For them to be able to get to him to not get hurt. So I would say that'd be one thing that needs to be changed. Having enough officers.
I just want any other family who sees this, when you see it, don't give up hope. If you have someone in prison, check on your people and just make sure you can listen at your family member voice and kind of see where they are right a lot of times, because a lot of times they go through stuff when they call and talk to you. So be a listening ear to them, that whenever they are able to have access to the phone, have access to talk to them, because they're not going to tell you everything that goes on in there, because they want to try to keep your mind where you won't be so much stressed out or worried about it. But my thing is to encourage people not to give up hope. Find out what happened to your family member, anything that you need to do, any type of investigation. Don't just allow them to, do what they do and then nothing's being done, because to the prison system, he was a number. But to us, he was a family member. He was my twin.